Yeah, correct.
When you do path and there is no prayaschitta, uh, yeah, I mean, if that
Okay.
only happens on the surface.
Yeah, prayashchitta is only for, it removes the sinful reactions on the surface platform, but not the sinful tendency, not the tendency to act sinfully. That still remains. Okay, good. You've got good points. Others? Hare Krishna. Yes, anything else? You have any questions from last time with respect to what we discussed? Actually, I think many of you were not in last class. There are different batches who come in different classes. If you repeat. Okay, so anyway, we'll go ahead. Rohit, anything from last class?
So we discussed about like Udam,
Okay. Yeah.
um, we were also discussing like how like when like God does something, He does on an absolute platform,
Mm-hmm.
and His anger, like for example, Narsingh Dev, right? His anger delivers someone, and while at the same time our anger like destroys. So anything that God does, yeah, it's like absolute platform.
On absolute plan.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, we did discuss that. Okay, now 20th verse, 4th chapter. Can you please repeat? You can read. Is it too small? It's small? No, you can read. Okay.
Oh, can you share?
Oh, thank you. Is there a class today? Yes. There is. त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गं
नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः
नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः
कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि
कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि
नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः.
नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः.
Yeah, can you read the translation?
Abandoning all attachment to the results of his activities, ever satisfied and independent, he performs no fruitive action, although engaged in all kinds of undertakings.
Okay, and purport?
Purport. This freedom from the bondage of actions is possible only in Krishna consciousness. When one is doing everything for Krishna, a Krishna conscious person acts out of pure love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore he has no attraction for the results of the action. He is not even attached to his personal maintenance, for everything is left to Krishna. Nor is he anxious to secure things, nor to protect things already in his possession. He does his duty to the best of his ability and leaves everything to Krishna. Such an unattached person is always free from the resultant reactions of good and bad. It is as though we were not doing anything. This is the sign of akarma, or actions without fruitive reactions. Any other action, therefore, devoid of Krishna consciousness, is binding upon the worker. And that is the real aspect of vikarma as explained herein before.
Okay. So we will make an understanding of all of this. We just cover two more verses. Hare Krishna. Can you make some space? Was it understandable, the verse? Did you catch anything from the verse? What?
Yeah, one who's not attached to the results of karma.
Yeah.
Basically, they're on the right path.
Okay. They're on the right path. Thank you. Yes, anyone else? Yes.
You can only achieve doing a karma or doing this activity of not being attached to the results only if you are Krishna consciousness.
Very good. Thank you. Good point. Yes.
What is Krishna consciousness?
Very good question. Okay. Krishna consciousness means it's a state of consciousness where whatever we do, however we behave, we are in line with what pleases Krishna. Yeah, that means, okay, if I want to eat something, can I eat anything, everything? No. Krishna says in scriptures what is okay to eat and what is not okay to eat. Okay, now if I want to sleep, can I sleep anytime and get up at any time? So Krishna says what is most beneficial for us, and how can we lead a life of sattva. You've heard of term sattva before? Mode of goodness. Okay, basically a life of peace and calm is that you sleep early, get up early. How do we deal with others? How do we speak? How do we treat seniors, equals, and juniors? And what kind of input we take to the senses? So all these things we have to question. Everything we need intelligence to understand what should we take in, what should we not take in. So in Krishna consciousness, we are conscious of what pleases Krishna, and therefore our input is filtered. Does that make sense? So therefore, in Krishna consciousness, we are going to we can say Krishna consciousness is a state of consciousness, of course, which we are aspiring to come to. At that consciousness, there is no hatred, there is no lust, anger, greed, and therefore one is actually feeling deep satisfaction within. So we the whole point of studying Bhagavad Gita and coming together and listening to Bhagavad Gita is because we want to elevate our consciousness to that consciousness. Did it make any sense out of it? Okay.
One more question.
Okay. There are some certain concepts like karma, akarma, vikarma, which we had covered in recent classes, and therefore I'm not going through it. Okay, please repeat. Nirashiryata chittatma त्यक्त सर्व परिग्रह शारीरम केवलम कर्म पूर्वं नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Such a man of understanding acts with mind and intelligence perfectly controlled, gives up all sense of proprietorship over his possessions, and acts only for the bare necessities of life. Thus working, he is not affected by sinful reactions.
Yeah, purport.
Purport. A Krishna conscious person does not expect good or bad results in his activities. His mind and intelligence are fully controlled. He knows that because he is part and parcel of the Supreme, the part played by him as a part and parcel of the whole is not his own activity, but is only being done through him by the Supreme. When the hand moves, it does not move out of its own accord, but by the endeavor of the whole body. A Krishna conscious person is always dovetailed with the supreme desire, for he has no desire for personal sense gratification. He moves exactly like a part of a machine. As a machine part requires oiling and cleaning for maintenance, so a Krishna conscious man maintains himself by his work just to remain fit for actions in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. He is therefore immune to all the reactions of his endeavors. Like an animal, he has no proprietorship even over his own body. A cruel proprietor of an animal sometimes kills the animal in his possession, yet the animal does not protest, nor does it have any real independence. A Krishna conscious person, fully engaged in self realization, has very little time to falsely possess any material object. For maintaining body and soul, he does not require unfair means of accumulating money. He does not therefore become contaminated by such material sins. He is free from all reactions to his actions.
Okay. So we'll come to this after this last verse. Yadricha labha santushto द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते. Sorry?
Yeah. He who is satisfied with gain which comes of his own accord who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled although performing actions. A Krishna conscious person does not make such endeavor even to maintain his body. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He never begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as in his own power, and is satisfied with whatever is obtained by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service in Krishna consciousness. However, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed by the duality of the material world. The, the duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in his own way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady in both success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge.
So, what is the name of the chapter, title of the chapter? Transcendental knowledge. So, what Krishna is explaining here is what are the symptoms of a person who is living this knowledge, and what are the symptoms? He doesn't get affected by anything in this world. He is not attached to anything, and his endeavor is mainly to please Krishna. And what does he do for his body? He depends on Krishna. How many of you find it a little difficult? Isn't it? It's very, very difficult. Even if we are, chanting Hare Krishna, following for regular principles, we have been associated with devotees for some time. It's not an easy platform. So, first of all, we have to understand actually Krishna is for a fact. Many people, they think, some people believe in Krishna and some people don't believe in Krishna. It's up to us. But when I say Krishna is for a fact, it doesn't depend whether we believe or not, isn't it? Does gravity only exist for people who believe in gravity? No. Gravity exists for everyone. If you don't believe in gravity, you can jump from a second floor or first floor. You'll understand. Gravity does exist. So, therefore, the scriptures. Hare Krishna. Yeah, yeah. So, therefore, the scriptures, first of all, they establish how Krishna is a fact. When come there, it's like a maze now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Therefore, the most important thing we all have to do is get the faith strengthened that yes, Krishna does exist. Even though we have been coming in, from a cultural background where we have heard Krishna's name, Krishna's pastimes from grandmother, from parents, from TV serials, from friends. We have heard all this. But really, is there a conviction that yes, Krishna does exist? Sometimes not there. Mm. Why? Because our education, the way we are educated, is that we need proof for everything, which is a good thing, and therefore there's something called as reasonable faith. It's some people are there, definitely they just believe in Krishna and it's wonderful, but small, as they say, a small disaster is required to shake their faith, and for them Krishna no more exists. So, in as we make progress in, you can say, on the path of bhakti yoga, there are 9 stages. Starts first, the basic step is called as Shraddha. What is Shraddha? Shraddha is faith. Then with Shraddha, one comes to temple, one looks at the devotee, he wants to converse with the devotee and get connected. And second step is called as Sadhu Sangha. Because of Shraddha, we go to temple and associate with devotees. It's called as Sadhu Sangha. When you associate with sadhus or saintly people or devotees of Krishna, what do they make you do? Chant Hare Krishna. So the third step is called Bhajana Kriya. Hmm. That means they'll engage you in worshipping Krishna in different ways. You can hear about Krishna, you can chant Hare Krishna, you can serve Krishna. It's all Bhajana Kriya. Hmm. And when you do bhajan, when you start chanting Hare Krishna, what happens? Purification of heart. The lust, anger, greed in the heart is getting cleansed. Be from selfish, one becomes selfless. From lust, it's transformed to love. From independence of God, one becomes dependent on God. This transformation of heart happens. It is called as Anartha Nivritti, fourth step.
What is it called?
Anartha Nivritti, the cleansing of the misgivings in the heart. And then after that comes the fifth step. When Anartha Nivritti happens for a long time, is the longest step. Takes a pretty long time. Depends on how much dust is accumulated in the heart. And the fifth step is called as Nishtha. Nishtha means one gets fixed in his practice. That means even the sky may fall on earth and the earth can get divided into two and you are falling inside. But still you'll have faith that Krishna exists. One will not lose faith. That is Nishtha. He is fixed in his faith, in his understanding of Krishna. And then comes Ruchi, and these are all higher levels. I just mentioned the name. Ruchi means taste. That means in your free time, you'll not go on Instagram, you'll chant more Hare Krishna. That is taste. You've got a taste for it. And then comes Asakti. Asakti means a lot of great amount of attraction and attachment to Krishna. Asakti, attachment. Then comes Bhava. You have developed symptoms of love. So you have developed a mood of rendering loving service to Krishna. And then comes Prema, which is the ultimate state we want to attain. Krishna Prema. Love for Krishna. So anyway, the higher stages are, we'll discuss later on when we are qualified to discuss it. As of now, what we want to discuss is just Shraddha. So now, what gives Shraddha? What gives faith? Yes?
What is the source of what you just mentioned?
Madhurya Kadambini by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, what gives you faith that God exists or Krishna exists? What gives you faith in the process that you come, you want to associate with devotees and chant Hare Krishna? Can I get a few answers? Question is, what gives you faith?
Seeing other devotees practice.
Okay, when you see other devotees practice, you get faith. But when you see the materialists not practice, then when you see people not practicing, there are more people not practicing than people practicing. Okay.
Individual happiness as an outcome.
Individual happiness, like you feel happy, okay, and when you feel sad, you stop chanting. Okay. Yeah. Yes. Seeing changes in yourself, that's a more substantial. The heart transformation which you see. Yes.
Like one is knowing that he exists, that gives a lot of
Who
faith.
exists? Like
God,
he himself,
God,
God exists.
God.
Okay.
Like Krishna exists.
Okay.
And then in your day to day, you start seeing maybe it's due
The hand of
change
God.
in your heart
Okay.
or how you react to things, how you are controlling your emotions better. That's when you start realizing, okay, Krishna is there. He's in the center. If you put him to the center of your life, then you start seeing how things are evolving.
Okay. Can I rephrase to say that by practicing Krishna consciousness, you are able to manage yourself better. So
You see his hand better in your
okay,
life.
you see his
You're
hand
more
better.
conscious about it.
Understood.
Maybe it was always existing, as you said.
Correct.
Like maybe I didn't learn gravity was there, but it was there.
Correct. But now you
Similar.
are able to see gravity.
No, I know the concept.
Right.
of
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Yes,
So
Deepak.
just adding to this, well, I would say with the Krishna consciousness, one could easily figure out like what is the right vision of a life, basically.
Right vision of life. Yes, you get a clarity on purpose of life.
Yeah, that's
Everything else seems little
materialistic.
materialistic, less worthy. Yeah. Nicely put. Yes. You see changes in others. Yes, when Sri Prabhupada came and chanted Hare Krishna in Tompkins Square Park, the hippies became happies. Yeah, very true. When you see an unchangeable person change, especially. Yeah. At one point in time, the US government, they were approaching Srila Prabhupada, especially with respect to all these drug addicts. They would catch anyone, they would come and drop him. Like, for example, once, I don't know exactly where, so this couple of policemen, they were chasing a drug addict, and he was running, and they were running behind him and running and running. And then he saw one Hare Krishna temple. So he saw the door was open, and he ran inside. So the police understood he has gone inside, and they went back. Because they understood if he has gone inside, he'll get changed. There's no going behind him. There's no point going behind him. Yeah. So you can say you're seeing change in others. That also gives you faith. Yeah. That means it's a universal process. It's not something that only works for me. It works for everyone.
And
Yes.
there is no misery or depression in others' life. Also in your life when you take up this. And the starting will be that. That is why you will get.
Correct. Immediately you feel the heavy burden in life to be, yeah, you feel it's all like lifted, like Krishna lifted Govardhan. He has lifted the burden of your life. You feel very light-hearted when you come to Krishna consciousness. And especially look at the philosophy. You're not this body, you're spirit, soul. Immediately you get some relief in the heart. Isn't it? Very good.
Gain acceptance of like good and bad of life.
Yes, you get strength to accept good and bad. Understanding is both a Krishna's mercy. Actually, what gives us faith, especially in current times, is when we get a job. Yeah, Krishna exists. Yes.
I had multiple answers.
Yeah.
So what brings in faith? Thought about death. Someone who dies, or especially when the pandemic happened, like nothing in our control. My life is just a sympathy of someone else's.
Yeah.
Right? And that made me think about fear. Fear could also kind of bring you to that path.
Okay.
But then the third answer that I got was actually Krishna's own grace. Not really in our hands. Like our body, however it's Krishna.
Okay.
So even having faith or getting the faith would be something by grace only. But yeah, once you're on that path, the grace of Krishna, I believe that it then starts getting stronger.
Right.
Start where you start from.
Okay. Okay. So, if I got you correct, you said what gives you faith is when your faith in the material world breaks, then you understand there is a higher principle you want to put faith in, isn't it?
Yeah, the last instant of the silence,
Yeah.
the illusion that everything is fine. The fear also helps you.
Yeah. Then now you want to hold on to a more stable shelter, isn't it? Something more stable, which is not going to break. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. So in this way, we find more we come to the association of devotees, more we actually building that element of faith. Mhm. And there are things that breaks faith. You all of you heard some things that gives you faith. Now, can you give me some input? What breaks your faith? You don't get a job. Yeah, when you don't get a job. Okay. Yes.
I think anything, let's say you set some goals for yourself, right?
Okay.
Personal materialistic goals. To be honest.
Okay.
When you don't get that goals, once you're
Fulfill.
achieving
Yeah.
it, feels good in life. You're like, okay,
Mm.
you have God's blessing and everything is good. But then suddenly you ask for something and then you don't get it. Then you like all that like which we have studied, I think in chapter 2.
Right.
It's all comes from kamna. If it gets fulfilled,
Mm.
your greed starts. If it doesn't get fulfilled, frustration starts.
Correct.
At least I personally felt that a lot, and I was
Yes.
in that cycle for years.
Mm.
And then, of course, coming here and reading Bhagavad Gita here, I understood where all it came from. It came from the expectations we set for ourselves, and all these are materialistic expectations only.
Correct.
And then understanding rather than entangled into this, be better in like have increase your levels of bhakti. That is
Mm.
much better, much peaceful, and much better thing to achieve in your life rather than having these materialistic goals, getting a job, getting married, and things like that.
Okay, so you're saying if you have materialistic goals and they don't get fulfilled, sometimes our faith reduces.
No,
No?
no.
The question was what breaks your faith?
But it can break your
It
faith.
can break your faith. Okay.
Yeah, not in my case, but yes, it can break.
Okay.
You can be like, okay, why is God not giving me this? It means He doesn't exist or things like that.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Yes.
Losing a loved one.
Losing a loved one breaks your faith.
I mean,
In
not
whom?
for me.
Whom are you speaking for?
Oh, I thought you were asking example why people lose
No,
faith.
I'm asking what breaks your faith.
Oh, individually.
Your.
God broken.
Yes.
When you see that you are not moving forward, you are giving on something. You want to achieve some, like you have some goals,
Yeah.
not materialistic, spiritual goals.
Okay.
Then you can get above all these materialistic things and you're not going anywhere.
Shh.
Your calm growth is not getting.
Hey, can you sit here?
Can you just go there?
This is like managing fifth standard. One of you move, no? He's giving an important answer. Okay.
Your calm growth is not getting lesser. You have attachments, you have everything which was there before as well.
Yeah.
So now you see that is not working out.
Very good point. Actually, he's saying that sometimes we are on a spiritual path, but we have spent a lot of time, but we don't see the progress as promised by the devotees or the scriptures, or isn't it? Okay, very good. When we don't see that progress, we start losing faith. Very good. Yes.
Even though like if people who are wealthy, they also like disbelieve in God.
Okay, you're saying sometimes when we
The wealthy people.
wealthy people, when we
Because
have
they have
enough
everything.
comforts,
Yeah.
luxuries, then one can get into so much of sense enjoyment
Yeah.
that
That's good.
bhakti goes to the background or even out of the window. Yeah. Yes.
Personally, for me, I think it's when I get caught up with just day-to-day life, and sometimes when life gets tough and I lose track of like having sangha or being in association. I think that's one of the easiest ways, at least personally, to not lose faith, but
But it starts
definitely,
shaking.
yes, start
Okay.
struggling a little. So
Yes.
association.
Yeah. Lack of association.
Right.
Very good. Yes. And yeah.
Whenever I'm in pain,
When you're in
physical
pain. Okay.
um, and I try, I get scared. I'm like, oh my god,
Okay.
right? Anxiety takes over. But then I'm like, so in my head, I've got another thought, but again, meditate. It's like duality at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like my fear gets more weight in my head or more space than the faith that I have. It's there. It's just like there's a constant reminder coming.
Right.
The pain is happening. Like pain में कैसे
Hmm.
you know. But then,
Correct.
sometimes it takes a while, but yeah, I would say whenever so let's say if I were to get some terminal illness, I'm thinking about
Okay.
it. I'm like, like,
Mhm.
free God and free
Correct.
speculation.
Thank you. Yes.
Even though there's lack of friendship.
With the devotees.
Yeah, with them.
Yeah.
That's the main.
Very
I
true.
guess.
Very true. I agree. Yes. All of them will give you their numbers. He doesn't want it. Okay. He's just saying generally
Yeah.
why one would lose faith.
But it's
Your faith, yeah. Question was your faith.
You cannot judge me.
Yeah. Yes. Any other? What does some of the things that can make us lose faith? There are so many things. I mean, so many.
When you see
Yeah.
that what is going on, everything is going on around you,
Okay.
you see that misery is everywhere, right?
Right.
Really? Very special.
Mm.
I'm
Okay.
not saying for me, but I'm saying
Someone else. Everyone is speaking for someone else. Yeah. Okay, but good point. Good point. Thank you.
Bad happens to good people.
Yeah, someone is a good devotee and still something bad happened.
Bad happen.
So what's the guarantee I'll be a good devotee and something bad won't happen to me? Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, some good thing. Yeah. Hare Krishna consciousness. Yeah.
Starting, I thought that Jayapataka Swami Maharaj.
Yes.
When I see him, I'm like, he's such a
Hmm.
devotee, and I feel. Then after coming here, after learning all this, then I understood it is maybe past life. We can't explain that in
Correct.
real life, but it is
Okay.
difficult to see the.
So actually, why one loses faith can be concluded in one word called as avidya. Hmm? Avidya means ignorance. Ignorance means lack of knowledge. So when we do not understand how Krishna works, how does Krishna deal with his devotees, or why am I suffering? When these concepts are not clear, sometimes faith breaks. Sometimes even after spending some time in Krishna consciousness, one can actually question, does Krishna really exist? Isn't it? Then of course the intelligence jumps forward and puts up, Gita Krishna says this and why it is true. That's another thing that happens. But it can break because usually it's because of avidya. So, I mean, anyway, you brought up example of Jayapatak Swami. So one of the senior most sannyasis is known as Jayapatak Swami. So he was tall, young, handsome man. He met Srila Prabhupada at the age of 18 or 19, and he took sannyas by the age of 21, and he's still sannyasi. And because he was very tall and handsome, so Srila Prabhupada told him, you should eat and become fat, just so that you will not attract anyone, so you can maintain your sannyas vows. So then, of course, he followed and he became fat. Then what happened? Srila Prabhupada says, as you become a devotee, just like Jesus was there, you automatically attract envious people. So once in an airport, someone tried to kill him. So they took a blade and they went across his neck. So because he was fat, he was saved. Yeah. So this is how a sadhu's instruction saves one. And even now, he has a particular condition. I don't know so much details of the medical condition he's in, but he's on a wheelchair, and he has some level of paralysis and everything. But at the same time, why does Krishna do this to his devotees? Why does Krishna do this to his devotees? To increase faith in whom? To increase bhakta. To check his commitment. Okay.
Set an example.
Yeah, you were saying?
Set an example.
To set an example. Yes. So there are three levels of people. From, you can say, materialists, and then there are upcoming devotees like all of us, and then there are pure devotees. Let's talk about, okay, whom do you want to discuss first? Materialistic. Okay, materialistic people. Why do materialistic people suffer? Karma. Because for them, law of karma acts. However they have acted in the past, the reaction comes and therefore they suffer. This is pretty clear. Why is there suffering? Because on account of one's own sinful act, either in this life or in the past life. If even if someone is good now, someone can say, my brother, he was good from his childhood, he has not committed any sin. But what about his last life? Just like a thief, if he has robbed a bank or something, and is running, and the police is chasing after him, and he goes to a, say Primark, and changes his clothes and starts walking, will the police catch him or not? Now, when the police catches him, can he say, but I stole in another set of clothes? Doesn't matter. You are the same person, isn't it? So, similarly, for the materialistic people, the law of karma acts, nature acts. Krishna doesn't involve with materialistic people. Okay. Now, second one, for upcoming devotees like us. It is said, His Holiness Giriraj Swami was saying that as soon as one starts chanting Hare Krishna, even one round, like for 5 minutes, 7 minutes, Krishna takes all of the karmic account into his account. That means you no more have any karma to suffer. But how many of you have suffered even after chanting Hare Krishna? So why are you suffering if there is no karma?
Not pure devotee.
Yeah, but Krishna has taken all the karma into his account.
Because still some dirt left.
Hmm?
Still some dirt left, right?
Yeah.
Initial like
So still some dirt is left.
purification itself.
He gives small doses for purification.
Yes, Krishna sees now that this person is interested in Krishna consciousness. He really wants to pick up his game, but at the same time, he still has certain tendencies. Now, to purify that tendency, Krishna uses our own karma to purify us. So sometimes, yes.
I used to think, maybe I'm wrong here, that when we are getting Krishna consciousness, the suffering will not stop or the suffering will not reduce. Like whatever in your karma is there, yes, Krishna can change it and change that. But the point of bhakti is so that when that suffering happens, like you can deal with it better or you don't feel that much results or consequences of that suffering. The suffering will not stop.
Suffering need not stop. Yeah, suffering need not stop, but you may not be affected by it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm talking about the suffering aspect only. And sometimes there is no physical suffering, there's mental trauma. It could be anything. But the fact is that we suffer, even as devotees. Isn't it?
Even sleeping also suffering.
Sleeping is also suffering.
Yeah, that's like people think that they are dreaming or some negative.
Yeah, yeah. Some karma gets out through that also. Yeah. So therefore, upcoming devotees, us, we also suffer even after start beginning to chant Hare Krishna. It is because there are certain tendencies which Krishna wants to purify us from. And if Krishna doesn't give that, then we cannot become better in our devotional service. And we cannot become alert. For example, if there was one thief who became a devotee, and he met Srila Prabhupada. No, I think he met the temple president of a temple he joined. So basically, what happened as he was escaping, he saw some big festival like Rath Yatra or something, huge congregation of devotees, and he also went in the group, and he started dancing with everyone, just to get like camouflage himself as devotee. So when that happened, as the devotees returned to temple, he also went to temple. And next day in the morning, he started following whatever the devotees were following the temple. And back in those days, there were many people who would join the temple. So no one really knew who were part of the temple there. Very difficult to make out. So he started getting up in the morning, taking shower, attending Mangalarti. He saw it because pretty simple step. So he would also dance with the devotees. And when everyone would chant the japa, he also got a bead bag and he would act as if he's chanting, but there were no beads inside. So he continued this for 6 months. And then finally, just by trying to imitate a devotee, his heart got transformed. And finally, went to the temple president and submitted himself. He said, "Actually, I'm a thief. Actually, I've done this. I don't know what he had done, but I've done some sinful activity in the past. But now that I practiced with all your devotees here, now my heart is transformed. Now I want to continue being a devotee." The temple president said, "For that, first of all, you have to go and submit yourself to the police." So he did that. He went to the police and he was put in jail. So then later on there was court hearing, and the court hearing, there was a trial. So the judge asked, "So what did you do last 6 months?" And he said, "Every day I would sleep maybe by 9 o'clock. I had to get up early like 3:30 a.m., take cold shower, and then chant for 2 hours, do meditation for 2 hours sitting, and then we had another aarti or something. Then we had to sit for a class, and then at 9:30 we would have breakfast, and again then another 6 to 8 hours we had to go out and try to give out Bhagavad Gita to people, and then evening we would come tired and eat something and take rest. And this is the routine I did daily." So judge said, "Better you go back home because this much amount of purification you will not get even in the jail." Isn't it? So in this way you find that even by imitating a devotee, one's heart gets transformed, isn't it? So, therefore, for all of us, there are certain tendencies. It could be anything. Like some people are, they just lie left, right, center. Hardly they speak truth. Have you met such people? Yeah, I've met such people. Very difficult to rely on them. Mm. Or some people, they have a cheating propensity. Some people have lauding propensity. Some people have controlling tendency. Wherever you put them, they will push everyone and try to control the situation. So there are certain things in our heart which Krishna is working upon. Mm. Just like you work upon a statue, some you have to chisel. While chiseling, there'll be some sharp chisel which can, it's pretty sharp. It can hurt us. But Krishna is like this expert doctor who's working on our heart, isn't it? So therefore, Krishna is the one who is making sure we become a very good devotee, and for that he has to give us some suffering. Yeah, just like if you have a boil, if you go to the doctor, there are two things you can do for a boil. Big boil. The one thing is you can blow on the boil; it'll be very cooling to the boil. But will it cure the boil? No. Or he has to cut the boil, and that will be excruciating pain. So which one would you prefer? How many of you would prefer blowing on the boil? Blowing on the boil? Really? But it won't cure the boil.
Yeah, I know, but that's what you prefer.
Oh, that's what you prefer.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, what would you choose?
What would you choose?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. You would prefer the second one. Yeah. You would choose the second one.
Choose the second.
Okay. We prefer cool. We prefer something that's comfortable, but we have to choose that is which will actually cure the disease. So therefore, Krishna is the expert doctor who is trying to work on our hearts. And then why do pure devotees suffer? They're already pure at heart. Yes.
They take the karma of their disciples.
Okay, they take karma of disciples, but that they're so pure they can burn the karma of disciples.
Then I've also heard like maybe Jayapataka Swami's or even Prabhupada would say, I'm reading what is the difficulty, and when he's feeling sick, he would
Right.
say 80% of my disciples are doing not practicing seriously, they're doing hanky panky.
80% of disciples.
80%, yeah. So that's why he's sick at this moment. So that's why they
It affects their health. Yeah, it does affect their health. But whether they suffer or not is a question. Right? No? But why do pure devotees put this up?
They just
Yeah.
suffer a fraction of what they might have actually.
That is for our. That's for us. Yes.
Does suffering bring you closer?
Suffering brings us closer to Krishna.
For us.
For us.
For
Yeah.
us.
For our pure devotees, they're already close. Yeah.
Set an example.
To set an example, yes. To set an example. What example are they setting? If you become pure, you will get suffering. Then what is the example? Okay, but I may not be that strong. I would prefer not to suffer. Then better I not be a devotee. To glorify the devotee. Yes. So actually, if you see, if Prahlad was not put into suffering that he was subjected to, then no one would actually understand who Prahlad is. If Pandavas never underwent the suffering they underwent, then no one would understand the glory of the Pandavas. So Krishna wants to show to the whole world who are my devotees, isn't it? And therefore, pure devotees seem to suffer, but they don't suffer. What is the proof? If you read Srimad Bhagavatam in the first canto, Kunti is saying, as Krishna is beginning to leave Hastinapur back to Dwarka, and Kunti is trying to withhold Krishna back into Hastinapur. And she says that Vipada Santata Shashvat Tatta Tatta Jagat Guru. That means that let this suffering come again and again. Whatever we have gone through, we have been cheated and been exiled, Draupadi being disrobed, Bhima attempted poisoning. So all these suffering, let it happen again and again, because through this suffering we have a reason to take shelter of you. So these things are, it comes in the category of don't try this at home. You cannot imitate this. This is a state of consciousness of a pure devotee. Only they can do this. So therefore, to glorify his devotees, Krishna puts the pure devotees into seemingly suffering position. But of course, did Prahlad ever suffer? Did Prahlad even get frustrated that there's so too many sufferings in my life? Never. He was always busy chanting Hare Krishna. He was so absorbed in chanting Hare Krishna, he didn't even know how he got dressed, how he took bath. He didn't have any idea. And later on, when Narasimhadev came and he's asking Prahlad, what boon do you want? After undergoing all the suffering, what is Prahlad saying? My father who inflicted so much suffering, please liberate him. Yeah. So this is the heart of a pure devotee. So now these qualities of pure devotee comes out when Krishna puts them in suffering. And then he'll show to the whole world. See, this is what you have to aspire for. Such love for Krishna that whatever it may happen, they will never turn away. These are the higher stages of devotional service, as we discussed Shraddha to Prema. This is on the stage of Bhava and Prema. So, for us, practically speaking, why am I speaking these things? Because in these three verses, Srila Prabhupada explains. These three verses explain what are the symptoms of a person who does akarma. That means spiritual activity. What happens? He does not endeavor to maintain himself. Then who maintains him? Krishna maintains. That doesn't mean you don't study for exam and Krishna will write the exam. This is for a pure devotee. He has full dependence, not only during exam. Even when there are no exams, he is dependent on the Lord. So he is fully satisfied with whatever comes on its own accord. He doesn't put much endeavor. He is so busy trying to please Krishna, he doesn't care about himself. And this is the stage of a Paramahamsa. That's what is being explained. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, therefore we have to also become dependent on the Lord. Now when can you depend on someone? When you have faith in him, isn't it? So therefore all the factors which all of you beautifully mentioned, many factors, what gives you faith, so you have to increase them. Whatever gives you faith, you have to increase them, and whatever breaks of faith, you have to minimize them. Yeah. Sometimes what breaks our faith is, you can look at something like an atheistic scientific documentary which seems convincing, but at the end of the documentary they say therefore God doesn't exist. So one who is scientifically minded, he might get convinced by such scientific documentary, and he might lose faith in Krishna. So it's very important that he doesn't view such documentaries. There were some devotees, I'm not sure if of ISKCON or not, but they would read, Richard Dawkins' God Delusion, and then they would leave devotional service. They would leave Krishna consciousness because he has presented such convincing arguments, Richard Dawkins, in God Delusion. So therefore, if you can understand how much faith you have, and you don't want to break that, because anything to build takes time, it takes effort. To break anything is very easy. So you have to be very careful. So the factors which increase your faith, you have to make it more. Build those factors even more. Associate with devotees, chant more Hare Krishna, come and take nice prasadam, isn't it? Discuss Bhagavad Gita. These all give faith. And those which break faith, like say suffering, like Adok said, suffering to a dear one. Okay, why did the suffering come? We have to reason out to understand why suffering is coming. Or someone like Dhruv mentioned, sometimes we don't see progress. Then you have to question, why am I not seeing progress? Two things can happen. Either I am wrong or scriptures are wrong. So most likely, scriptures are wrong. No, most likely I am wrong, isn't it? So therefore we can go to senior devotees and ask, why is it that I don't see any progress? And they can point it out. So these things, whatever breaks faith, we have to be very, very alert. Like a touch me not plant. As soon as you touch it, it closes. So similarly, as soon as you sense any tinge of doubt that is arising, immediately you have to clarify it. Especially those doubts which inhibits your progress in devotional service. That makes sense? So when that faith is established, then we can talk about depending on Krishna, and Krishna will maintain you. You just do the minimum, isn't it? Otherwise, till then you have to put your put the effort, and at least give your fruits of action to Krishna. Work for Krishna. And as you practice Krishna consciousness, you become solid from within. And then these things will come naturally. And that's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. Krishna is not telling Arjuna, now you don't fight, I will take care of everything. Krishna is telling Arjuna, when you practice akarma, these are natural symptoms which will come. That you will automatically depend on Krishna. So, if you read the Krishna book, there is one pastime where the forest fire demon who is actually a fire demon. He goes and starts burning all the trees in the forest. And Krishna and the cowherd boys, first the cows were lured into the forest before the forest fire began, and the cowherd boys also went to get the cows back, and they also got trapped, and they all started screaming Krishna's name, and then Krishna made his way inside, and now Krishna is there. Now cowherd boys don't have to fear. So what did Krishna tell the cowherd boys when they were surrounded by forest fire about to engulf them? Krishna told the cowherd boys, just close your eyes and just sleep. Just keep your eyes closed. See, there's a impending danger on your life. If someone tells you close your eyes, it depend on me. Can you depend on anyone? Yeah, with maybe one eye open at least. But cowherd boys, they had so much of faith in Krishna. With a smile, they closed their eyes without any second doubt. And then what Krishna did? He swallowed the entire forest fire. And then they opened their eyes. Was in the forest fire now? So Krishna is a person whom you can depend upon. In this world, people are not dependable. They can take position of a person whom you can depend on, but they cannot do what Krishna can do. So, therefore, in 7th canto, there's a verse which says, Balasya neha sharanam pitarau narsimha nartasya chagadamudanvati majjato nau taptasya tat pratividirya ihanjasheshtas tavad vibho tanubritam tadapekshitanam. Here, Prahlad is giving 3 examples, and he says, in this world, parents cannot save their child. And it's a real incident in Kolkata. I'm not sure if it was Ganges or which river body. The parents, along with the small child, they were in a boat, but the river was infested with crocodiles, and the boatman warned them, make sure your child doesn't wave his hand in the water because it attracts crocodile. So they didn't care. They allowed the child to wave its hand in the water. So immediately from within, a crocodile came and clasped the hand of the child. And on one hand, the hand is being pulled by the crocodile, and on the other side, the legs are being pulled by the parents. So you can just imagine how the boat was, completely shaking, about to topple. So immediately the boatman said, either you leave your child or we all will become food for the crocodiles. So the parents, with their own hands, they had to give up the child. So therefore, Prahlad is saying that even parents in this world cannot protect the child. But if Krishna was there, you can imagine, isn't it? He can protect. Then second example he gives is doctors cannot protect patients, isn't it? Like in Apollo Hospital, I don't know where, in some part of India, one of our brahmacharis went, and the doctor remarked, okay, so the Hare Krishnas also finally have to come to the doctors to get their health improved. And immediately the brahmachari asked, okay, are there any patients who die in your hospital? He said yes. And because before that, he said, we are the ones who save everyone, including devotees. So then immediately Brahmachari asked, are there any people who die also? He said, yeah, sometimes people die. We try our best, but they die. Immediately Brahmachari asked, so why do you kill them? He said, kill them? We don't kill them. We try our best. So then the Brahmachari said, if you take credit for protecting them, you have to take the blame for them not being protected, isn't it? So therefore, who is protecting them? Krishna is protecting them. And therefore, in purport, Prabhupada mentions, we only have to become an instrument of God. In this world, the best course of action would be just become instrument of God. So doctors are instrument of God. So therefore, we have to go to them. Someone was raising hand. They make you sign a waiver. Yeah, probably after this incident. And the third example Prahlad gives is a boat cannot save a drowning man. So these three examples he gives. Therefore, when we practice bhakti, when we practice in association of devotees, when we study the scriptures properly, because I said lack of faith is sometimes because of avidya, ignorance. When we study the scripture philosophy deeply and increase those things which give us faith and minimize those things which destroy faith, then immediately we will see as soon as possible. In scripture the word uses ashu. Soon, sooner than later, so our hearts will be filled with love for Krishna. Yes, bro.
In front of Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
Krishna
Hmm.
was saying in person,
Hmm.
close your eyes.
Yeah.
How we have,
So where is Krishna now?
I know you will say, when you will Krishna, but
Yeah.
his voice is too low now because our mind is
Correct.
every time.
Hmm.
How to hear him?
Therefore, Krishna manifests in the heart. He manifests externally as Guru, and Guru means also the association of devotees. He manifests himself as the holy name. He manifests himself as the holy scriptures. So Krishna is giving his instructions through all of them. Yeah. For example,
Why not directly?
sorry,
Why not?
because we are not very pure. Like Narada, the singer, Narada. Yeah, sage Narada. So this Narada, in the previous life, he was born to a maid servant. So they had a very poor dwelling, and one day his mother was bit by a snake in the cow in the farm, and she died. And immediately he left home because he had got an attraction to serve Krishna. So as he was traveling north, he was going to cities and villages and to forests and jungles, and he was developing deep faith that Krishna exists. And he was daily chanting. At one point in time, a flash image of the Supreme Lord came in his in his mind. Hmm. At that time, immediately he got his hair standing on end and tears rolling down his eyes, and he immediately opened his eyes and the image went away. So now he started crying because he wanted the image back. And then he heard Akashvani. Krishna spoke. He said, "My dear Narada, that boy, his name was not Narada. So, my dear boy, now I just gave you a small sample of myself, but still you have to work on cleansing your heart. Once that happens, then you can attain me completely. But until then, you just this is like a motivation trailer. You have to be satisfied with this. So continue your journey." So similarly, when we also start chanting Hare Krishna, it's not that you have to wait till the end. End of the race, then only you'll get gold medal. Not like that. In path of bhakti, the means and the ends are the same. So while you're practicing bhakti, Krishna gives you taste little, not only at the end. For example, now I have become more calm, or now I've become more peaceful, I've overcome anger. So these things we all can see in ourselves. And this is what gives us conviction that it is working. Isn't it? You don't have to wait for a complete end to get the result. Why not? For him, that flash was there. But for us, that flash can mean anything. Even in the association of devotees, or you can say the transformation of heart, that also a flash. Whatever can give us conviction, Krishna keeps giving these small instances, yeah, doses, correct, doses which can increase our faith, which gives us hope. Okay, let me go on. There's something here. Yeah, and because Krishna consciousness is a more personal process, Krishna is available individually to each one of us. If there are 30 people in the room, Krishna is individually present to each one of us. Yeah, he has the capacity to do that. Yeah, is that okay? Yeah.
What's the difference between Nishtha and Bhava?
Okay, Baba is a very high platform where just when someone says Krishna, immediately tears will come to the eyes and hair will stand on end. Nishtha means It is your faith has become steady. You may not be very expert in defeating someone else's argument, in establishing the authority or presence existence of God, but personally you have full faith. But that will also be tested. Sometimes initially when some these boys come, our Indian Hindu boys come, they say, Prabhuji, I know Krishna, I love him very much. When I watch Little Krishna and everything, and when we talk about basic things like does God exist, they say, Prabhu, this is too basic for us. We are already very high level. So that high level is tested when exams come. They give up everything, and when they don't get a job, they give up associate devotees. They don't pick up our call. All these things happen, isn't it? They don't. Yeah, yeah. So it's easier said than done. Nishta is a very advanced platform. So when you, it's like you are taking a bike up the hill. So Shraddha, Bhajan, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Nivritti, Nishtha. Nishtha is like a plateau. Once your faith is fixed, from there it's downhill. That means it's easy. Then Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema is very easy. So what we have to work towards is attaining fixity, like daily chanting Hare Krishna, no matter what. Yeah, like that. Yes.
At what stage do you get addiction? Like an actual.
Bhajana Kriya is the stage. Yeah. That is a two-way stage. But we don't say at what Bhajana Kriya you get initiation. We say when you get initiation, that's Bhajana Kriya.
Oh, that's very fun.
Yeah, that's when Bhajan actually starts. When you are in touch with the parampara. Before that, it's like a practice. Yeah, that's still sadhu sangha. Before that. It's not that once you're in Bhajana Kriya, okay, you kick off the faith. No, no. Because the below level has to be even bigger and stronger to hold the upper level.
I thought
Yeah.
there has to be some market before you get, which is like your own practice, I guess. Like, as you said, the real practice.
Yes, once you're connected to parampara. Yeah. Any other questions? Was it clear what we discussed today? Yeah. Okay. Can we just quickly recap and summarize? What did we start with?
The 7 stages of bhakti.
9.
9, sorry.
Yeah, 9 stages of bhakti. Okay. We focused on
the different. We focused on the first one, which is
Shraddha, faith. Yeah.
And then like the different levels at which people operate when it comes to their association with Krishna, and then if all these people at different levels are suffering, what could be the potential reason why they would, and
Yeah.
what would or would not lead to a strengthening or weakness of faith,
Faith.
and then how to manage that.
Very good. Clap. Yeah, clap. So nice, very good. What we will do is it's already time. All of your prasadam is secure. So we'll just chant for 5 minutes. Depending on Krishna's prasadam will be there. He'll chant for 5 minutes. You can put timer. Can you repeat after me? Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadhara, Srivasadi, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare